to today's show. Today we're going to be reviewing the Beano, and it is currently at issue 4089, which is insane. Is it 89 issues since that big landmark 4000th issue, and we're still at £2.75, which I think is fantastic. This week you can win a Nintendo Switch and an Artemis Fowl book, so that's well worth having a look into. Right, let's open the first page. Of course, on the front cover we've got my guy Dennis the Menace and Gnasher, thankfully back in their rightful place on the front cover, which is fantastic. And of course you've got Betty Gross's Bake Off, Minnie's Water Blaster, and Big Bash Street Test, which is always fun. Yes, with the newly designed Bash Street kids. Let's have a little look. So on the first page we've got Mia and Kai from the Beano bosses, which I think is fun, and where they're messing about, throwing bananas and faffing about in a zoo, which is always fun, and they're feeding all the animals and stuff. I'm not quite too sure of the idea on this Beano boss thing, but I think it's great that they're bringing in people and they're bringing in audiences and they're having loads of fun, and it is like a really interesting way to bring audiences in, isn't it? I need to read a few more of them to see if I enjoy it, but I'm definitely liking the fact that it brings like the readers in, so they get to pick the best jokes, test out the pranks, which I think is fantastic. Award something, the Golden Splat. I don't know much about that. I need to look into that one. Read the comic strips first. I mean, that's fantastic, and loads more. I think that's great, isn't it? I think I might try and get Badger Jr. to have a go on that one. All you need to do is answer this question: who lives across the road from Dennis? Wow, that's interesting. So yeah, all these little competitions I think is great. Now you've got Dennis the Menace Unleashed, and of course Dennis and Gnasher, as seen on CBBC, which is always fun. You got Ellis back from last week, which I think is great. Ellis, the PlayStation playing elephant, which I think is hilarious, and I'm sure he's been in quite a few episodes now. It's great. And you've got the slightly over the top Chris Evans style TV writer, which I think is fun. Writer's block. And Dennis and Gnasher up to all sorts of stuff. Beano Town TV, of course, comes back, and all sorts of stuff happens with Dennis's mischievous antics on the sofa with Dad, throwing him into this weird alternate TV set, which I think is hilarious. Look at that. And he ends up thinking he's in some sort of alternate world, which I think is hilarious. And you've got the original Dennis up to all sorts of menacing, smashing a wall down with a massive hammer and all that sort of stuff, which I think is hilarious. You know, the older Dennis gets up to all the fun tricks, I'm sure, which I think is great. Writer's block, you got some good fun jokes there. What is the opposite of irony? Wrinkly. Irons, wrinkles. Oh no, that's terrible. What did the one wall say to the other? I'll meet you in the corner. Oh dear. We're on to a good one there. But yeah, so there's lots of silly jokes this week. You've got, a very interesting accident in Ha Ha's joke shop, where they fill up the place with way too much stock. So it's going to be interesting. Will they follow that storyline on, or will there be loads of sales on at the shop to try and get rid of all this stock? We'll see. The classic foam on the hand joke, which I think is fun. Some of the pranks are a bit over the top, so it's nice to see something really really chilled and silly that's easy for anyone to do. I personally wouldn't pick shaving foam, because I wouldn't want to, if it gets done to me, I wouldn't want shaving foam sprayed on my face. So I did say to Badger Jr., just like whipped cream or something, Now, Bash Street Kids. Now, obviously now they are really trying to change things up. For some reason, the Bash Street Kids have had a bit of a rebrand on this one, which is an interesting thing, with 2 new classmates. They've sort of changed the storylines a bit, which is interesting, and it feels like the series is trying to find its way again, which is going to be interesting to see how it develops. But for now, I'm unsure about Bash Street Kids. It needs to find its way again. It was doing well before, and they seem to have like shuffled in some interesting things. So they need to, you know, it needs to find its way back to being the main star of the show, really. So I'm hoping, you know, we get some good storylines in the future. This week is all about some disappearing ink and some amusing fun. So we'll see, but I'm hoping we get some ultra silliness like before, because it seemed like a very simple storyline this week, but I'm hoping for more in-depth fun and silliness, because usually you get some really silly stuff involving Cook with a slop. So I want to see some more silliness. You know, it's nearly there, but they've rebranded it, and I want to see what happens next, but it's not quite there yet. You know, I'm all well up for new characters, but I don't want it to be a detriment to the strip, so we'll see what happens there. Obviously, we've got this week's lovely competitions, so going for those. Calamity James causing all sorts of mischief with Police Chief O'Reilly. And of course, some ice cream and some bars. Look, there you go. I think Police Chief O'Reilly is drawn brilliantly there. It's fantastic. It's really hilarious. Okay, here we go. You got Betty the Yeti, which I think is great. Betty the Yeti is probably one of my favourite strips here and there. I think it's hilarious. You got, you know, some fun storylines there, really, when you look back at when they first started it. And, you know, we got some bin cake. So that's hilarious. Of course, I think that is even a real thing, isn't it? I'm not sure. But yeah. And then you've got, obviously, this week's word search. I love that they're including in English and stuff. Recent couple of weeks have brought back Billy Whiz. Yes! Let's pretend is nowhere to be seen, but Billy Whiz is back. And you've got the fastest boy in the world having lots of fun and getting up to all sorts of mischief in Australia, I think, and trying to chase after animals, which I think is great. You know, good old Billy Whiz, indeed. Oh dear. And of course, now this week, this is definitely one of my favourite strips this week. You've got Minnie the Minx up to all sorts of mischief. Now the weather's changed with water pistols and sort of having a go at the latest softie. You know, that's the thing, like water isn't really Dennis's target anymore, but Minnie seems to have an arch nemesis still, which is fun, you know, but then she inadvertently helps her, which I think is great. You know, there is always this thing with the Minxes and the menaces, isn't there? And I don't remember them doing it back in the day, but definitely in modern times, they have this thing where they inadvertently help them. Oh dear, and that is fun, but look at that. It basically ends up with the whole town flooded, which I think is great. Oh dear. Oh dear. Dangerous Dan ends up donutting and having all sorts of silly fun with donuts and trying to get away with all sorts of shenanigans at the donut shop. And, you know, is there actually any members of Smirk after him? I want to know. I want to see some cheeky members of Smirk and see what happens. Oh dear. And of course you've got a water blaster here next to Minnie the Minx. So do check that out. Oh, okay, that's going to be an interesting little bit of fun there. Might try that with Badger Jr. Yeah. If you want me to test some of these out and see if they work, let me know in the comments. Ruby Screwtop Science. I think there's a new artist on this because I really liked the art on this one. I don't know if there is or not. I'll have to have a look. Words written by Jess Bradley, art by Rianne Rowland. Now, Rianne, if you're ever watching this, I want to tell you thank you very much for this art in Ruby Screwtop Science, because this is fantastic. It's really nice, clean art there. I love it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. And yeah, let's have a look. Okay. Fan club time. Please do check that out. I'm yet to join, but I think I should. Then you got JJ Freewheeling Fun, which is always fun. Lots of silliness there in the sunshine with Pie Face. You got Angel Face Investigates, which is always good. Sometimes I didn't get a chance to properly read the smaller strips, but you know, you can't beat it when it includes like Roger the Dodger and stuff like that, really. Some of those are fun. Now, Banana Man, my favourite. Banana Man. Weatherman seems to have come back. Now it's the summer. Weatherman seems to have come back, which is great. And causing all sorts of stuff like anvil rain and banana rain and smelly old fish and all sorts of silliness. So that's always great. So do check that out. Of course, then you've got the readers section, which I think is fantastic. And you do win a prize for that. So I will have a go at that at some time with Badger Jr. again. Roger the Dodger, up to football season shenanigans, which I think is great. Roger the Dodger is just fantastic, isn't it? And how he's managed to stop Dennis's dad and the rest of the older guys watching football without them. So that's always fun. You know, he's like, this is a boys' night, and it's hilarious how they managed to dodge and get the rest of the family involved. I think that's a great little dodge that has worked out there. And you've got a nice little strip there, a nice little puzzle, which I think is great, thanks to Roger. Yeah, and of course you've got the usual numbskull silliness, all about Ed getting up to all sorts of mischief, whistling with Plug, and all that sort of stuff this week, which I think is great. So, yeah, and of course you've got Gnasher and Nipper, which I think was really hilarious this week, eating food and trying to steal food from Mum and Dad, and ending up with egg on their face, eating horrible, messy dog food when they could have had a bit of pizza and all that sort of stuff, and I think it's hilarious. So yeah, next week we've got the, I suppose it's in time for the summer, a bit of a joke. First rule of Dad Club is no kids, only in Beano 4090, which I think is mad, and we'll see about that. Yeah, there's a lot, and of course you've got Rubber Ruby, which I thought was fun. And I don't know, you know, I'm guessing it's because of a license thing or something like that, but it's a shame that you can never see any of these characters again and they're only a one-off. It would be nice to see them again in the universe, wouldn't it? You know, the Beano universe, it would be fun to see them every now and again back in. I don't know, that may be involving a lot of permission, but I think it'd be great if you could. This week, I definitely enjoyed Minnie the Minx. Definitely enjoyed Banana Man. I 100% laughed my head off with Gnasher and Nipper. Let me know your favourite strips this week, and let me know why you thought that. And of course, it goes without saying that Dennis and Gnasher caught on camera was hilarious and well thought out and very, very silly. So, thank you very much, guys, this week. Definitely a good, solid issue this week, and it was loads of fun. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you enjoyed this week's issue, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!